G'day amigos and welcome to the Four Diego's Hot Topic. I'm Rodrigo Rodriguez. With me today is Warren Diego and Carlos Alberto Diego. Let's get stuck into the hot topic now, and it's all about Harry Kewell, who has decided to go back home to support his family, especially his wife Cherie Murphy, whose mother...
Go back home? Go back home?
Well,
it will
that's
be
a very
home.
good question.
Yeah.
I mean, England
I
is...
think he was halfway through his introduction before you interrupted.
Look, no, that's a fair point. But England is his home. His family's from England. Cherie Murphy, his wife's mother, who's of course Harry's mother-in-law, is suffering from a rare form of cancer, and the family need to be there, especially Cherie, to look after her mum. So Harry has decided to throw in his A-League career, it seems, and he's no longer going to be at Melbourne Victory. Big loss to the A-League, but Carlos, is it a big loss for Melbourne Victory?
Firstly, all the best to the Cherie Murphy's family, and hopefully the mother can somehow overcome the issue that she has. And also, it's great that Harry's put the family first and football second. So let's get that out of the way. Whether he's a loss to Melbourne Victory is an interesting one. I'm putting myself in Ange Postecoglou's shoes. I haven't won as many premierships as him, but I'm thinking from a coaching perspective, what he was coming into at Melbourne Victory. Of course, there was talk about divided change room at the club last year. They had all these stars, Harry Kewell, Carlos Hernandez, Archie Thompson, but there was a lot of stuff coming out of that club that probably a few egos weren't going to help the likes of Mem Durakovic and Jim Majordan, who of course were the two coaches last year, who weren't reappointed. I just wonder whether Ange Postecoglou will be quietly saying to himself, I don't mind the fact that I don't have to inherit these big names. I can actually build my own club. I can start with a clean slate, and sometimes it's difficult to do it with guys who have been there and done that, however good they are or have been.
Yeah, I think the Victory, obviously, there's two parts to the Harry Kewell situation. There's the notoriety and the image that he brings to the Victory, and no doubt that was ticked off in, spades last year as far as that was concerned. I think Ange Postecoglou would be looking at the numbers in terms of the money that's been freed up from the Harry Kewell deal and an ability to go out and get a marquee player of the type that he exactly wants and then be able to fill the team with players. He's already started signing a couple of players that aren't big names that fit the model that he wants. So I think they're obliged to come out, and not obliged, but they will come out and say how big a loss he will be. But I think in long term, Ange Postecoglou is probably seeing it as an opportunity rather than a disadvantage.
There is an argument, though, that Harry was just warming into it last year. It was very difficult for him. He's come off an injury-ravaged time in Turkey, came to Australia, got some good continuity to his games, showed in glimpses that the guy hasn't lost much at times, probably lost that yard of pace, but the second year in Melbourne with a good coach, that would have been an interesting prospect to see whether he would somehow recapture some of his great form under someone like an Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I think that.
No, I agree. And for the A-League itself, it's a loss because a fit Harry Kewell, and he was for most of last season, I thought was just sensational, not just for the Victory but also for the A-League. Just getting back to Victory, is the loss of Carlos Hernandez more magnified now, or it doesn't come into the equation?
His days were numbered.
He'd run his race, I think.
Yeah, when you're walking around almost with a bagel in your mouth when you're playing, and you're gesticulating the people off the bench the whole time. That's stuff that Ange Postecoglou just doesn't need to deal with. He got rid of Craig Moore, Danny Tiata, these guys are legends, Charlie Miller, these sort of players. I mean, Carlos Hernandez, it'd be arguable whether his career is anywhere near as good as those guys, and he got rid of them without blinking in the end. And he just needs to do what's good for the side, and having someone like a Carlos Hernandez, who wanted to always be the big ping in that change room, great player, don't get me wrong, Johnny Warren medalist, club champion, top goal scorer, all that sort of stuff, but it's attitude in that change room. What's going to divide your change room when you have to work hard? It's that sort of attitude.
Yeah, I don't think they'll miss him, and I think you'll see a new type of Victory team next year. Just one thing back on Harry Kewell. It interests me as to what Holger Rosick would think of the situation, because there's no doubt the reasonably small number of games Harry Kewell got through a whole season. He wasn't injured. If he does go back to England and play championship, he's going to be playing the 65 or so games for a championship team, and he's proved in the latter stages of his career in England that he couldn't cop that type of pressure. And the championship is 3 games a week,
on bogs.
Yeah.
Against guys who want to kick you up into the air.
Tough
all the
grind.
time.
He's going to be a marquee player.
Yeah.
You just hope that this doesn't affect his opportunity to play for Australia in the World Cup, because you could see Harry Kewell being a real pinch hitter off the bench for Australia in World Cup.
There is an argument, though, that if he can endure that he'll be better for it going into a World Cup than
Absolutely.
just playing an A-League. So he's probably said to himself, look, I'm going to be 36 going to a World Cup. I need to be an absolute pristine best. The only way I'm going to do that is by going through the rough and tumble of English football.
Would a newly promoted side pick up Harry Kewell, Carlos, a West Ham or something like
he's
that?
a free player. Free play, that's attractive. If he can prove... He'll have to trial, by the way. He won't be signed on his name. He'll have to go and trial, and they'll probably put him through some rigorous pre-season. But, geez, he's a strong character. Well, I saw him against Denmark for the Socceroos. Don't worry about the Amman game in 43-degree temperature and 95% humidity. The game against Denmark the week before, I tell you what, on the back of that, he can still play in England. But it really depends on what sort of budgets people have and what sort of faith they have in his body.
So it's going to be really interesting to see where Harry Kewell ends up, and it's going to be equally interesting, or just as interesting, to see who Victory go for instead of Harry Kewell. So that's probably another hot topic unto itself, gents.
Well, yeah, we'll be doing Diego's television in polo in turtleneck sweaters based on what Carlos is wearing today, Rodrigo.
That's
so
right. Well,
watch out for that one next week.
Well, you know, I think I scrub up okay in a turtleneck, a bit like Carlos. Well, that's it for this week's hot topic. Until next time,
Olé!